check out the live here. Um, Going live. So I wanted to really address a lot of things here on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. I know we're going to be talking about the racism and white supremacists in Ukraine, um, but I was really taken back to the fact that there was a lot of stories going on. So today on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show, let's talk about what we're going to be talking about um, as far as the three subject matters at hand. Racism in Ukraine, of course, and how Black people are being treated in Ukraine. They're basically not letting them to get on buses and trains, and they're saying that this is, this is for you, us, Ukrainians, us white people, us Europeans, and um, yeah, man, they're being racist. So we're going to talk about that, of course, and we're going to dive in some articles on the racism in Ukraine. Everybody in the Black media has been talking about it, been talking about how their Black students from Nigeria and other places, and Indian students and all these other places who came over to the Ukraine to study for school, and it's being um, you know, been stopped at the border. Hey, we got to let these white folks home first. These good white folks, they're the ones that deserve all, the special treatment, you see. So we have to look at that. We're also going to be talking about Empire Records. As you know, Snooty Wow was found shot and killed in Houston. They had reported that he had died. That's what, according to the media. We've been talking about rappers' beef, and how problematic that becomes in just a moment. And that is going to be one of the biggest stories. But first, let's talk about five Black women who had either some type of relationship with white daddy, their zaddies, and mysteriously, they basically have been found dead. The latest female, um, as you know, is Lawrence Smith Fields, and another one that had been found dead is Aisha Maynard. You see, we told y'all, you know, that these white supremacists do not stop. They do not stop, and they're not going to stop. And they like to basically get their most vulnerable victims. That be women, Black women. That be Black girls. Okay, Black girls, and it also be, um, of course, kids. Okay, but I want to show you. Take a listen to a video about her story that I'm going to dive into certain types of situations that is happening regarding her story. Take a listen. Let's see if we got this working. Um, they said we don't have it working yet. Okay, producers, get it all. I'm new at. I've been okay. So we don't have the video. We thought that we had the video here. But let me do this. Okay. And I think this was the woman. Let me see something. Family of KC mother wants more answers in the recent death. So I want y'all to take a listen. Not take a listen, but look at the news article here. News article. Okay. So family and KC mother wants more answers in her recent death. So again, this is the white supremacists basically messing with their target, their most vulnerable targets, whether it be black girls, um, like I said, children, black old black people. These are white supremacist targets because they're cowards. They don't do this to the black man. Um, it says in Kansas City, Missouri, which this is articles on February 28th. Hopefully, this news report will show up. The family of young Kansas City, Missouri mother are trying to understand how she died. Kansas City police and medical examiners told the family that they do not believe that there was foul play. However, they said there is more to the story. You see, this is how they stay on code. Notice they always say they don't believe foul play, and as you know, it's always foul play. Okay, it's always foul play in this type of situation. Okay, but I want you all to know this, and I wanted y'all to see this.
That she should be dead,
But you got to
needs to be
understand.
done strong, and there was no reason that she should be dead, but she was found dead over the weekend. The family says more needs to be done. How did a seemingly healthy mother of four die? That's what Asia Maynard's family desperately wants to know.
She's only 29. 29, you're not dying of natural causes.
Maynard's sister Tara says on Friday she was her sister.
She called me Friday at 10 or 10 or 11 o'clock, and she was telling me that, hey, I met a new friend, I'm going on a date. I was going to stop by, but I'll just come by tomorrow.
They never heard from Asia Maynard again.
After Friday, she never called, she never showed up, and that's not like her. So another day goes by. I said, something's not right.
Nurse told her she would probably get in touch with
My sister,
the family says police told them the man she'd been on a date with called police to report that she died. What they told them next broke their hearts.
We're going to say that she died of
PD says they're investigating her death, but there are no signs of foul play at this time.
When she got to the funeral home and we viewed the body, she had blood in her eyes and her ears, and her clothes were saturated with blood.
His family has far more questions than peace, and answers are what they need the most.
I want justice if he get it. In the name of Jesus, I know God.
Oh, Lord.
We just want people to listen to us.
Okay. See, when they start getting the grandparents on there talking about Jesus and black folks talking about the Lord, oh God. I understand that, religion, all due respect, you got to be able to leave your religion out of certain things. Religion is only for you personally. It's not to be used so the whole world can know that you're a Christian or a Muslim and stuff like that. Thumbs up, by the way, because ScrewTube cannot stand me. They've already suspended me and everything. It was like I'm going to this principal office. Hey, you got suspended from ScrewTube. Yeah, they give me 3 days, a week suspension. Remind me of when I was in high school. But no, anyway, ScrewTube knows that we do black media very well, and they don't like commentary from black people. Okay. But anyway, back to this subject matter. The family in Kansas City knows that basically what happened because this woman, Asia Manor, went to a dinner date with this white man, her zaddy. Keep in mind she has 4 black kids, knowing that this white dude is not going to take care of them as she thought, but she thought that she'll be able to get some type of relationship with these white dudes. And let me just tell you something. See, white men was out here killing, and sexually harassing white women so much that they do have to bring a lot of black victims with them. This mysterious death that involving this Asia Manor shows you that you just don't be dating no white man if you don't know the history of him. You see, and the problem that we have is that you get a lot of black female immigrants that comes over to the United States and they start dating these zaddies over here, and then they're mysteriously been found dead. It's like whoa, 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 something is going on. And he reported, as the news piece said, he reported her death, right? He said, hey, something happened to her. I don't know. I was just sitting in here. See, he called them and they were all on code. And this, like I said, this is what they have to do to these vulnerable black people, these ones that, I'm saying, that could not handle themselves. They have to catch you off guard. They do this to these our people in the community that is vulnerable. Okay. And what we have to learn about white supremacy is that they have a code that, hey, to me, white men are already going to jail already. Even though that we killed this black chick here, you see, you can't be putting no white folks in jail now, no white men in jail. You better go ahead and dig up some more stuff that happened 30 years on Bill Cosby or R. Kelly. But when she went to the funeral home, they said they noticed that the red eyes was blushed out. You see what I'm saying? That means if they're dealing with red blood eyes cells from the eye, that's as they were talking about. Okay, she sat right there, and the death happened while her eyes were still just like, you see my eyes now. That means that the life was taken out of her right there. And this bastard was so evil, along with these so-called EMTs and all these other people in the police. They didn't even close her eyes at that point. Her basically getting hit in the head, possibly, by this man real hard, and then beating her to death, shows you that white people, white supremacy is on code with each other when it comes to killing us. You want to talk about the black woman not being protected in America? You have to understand that there are certain types of black women who are basically dating outside their race, and there's no protection to that. Who told you that there was protection for that? You understand? And then you get the family on here, oh, Jesus, Lord Jesus. Oh my God, and they can talk all kinds of noise about how black men treat you. This is what we're talking about. This is what we have to look at as their strategy. As far as, hey, well, we don't need to kill no more white women like we've been doing. It's time for us to kill some black women. Time for us to basically go out and shoot and kill other women because we're killing too many of our women, you see. So the white man has this whole thing about getting certain types of victims that he could basically use. So we not only do we have the injustice that happened to Breonna Taylor, with white men killed her, we have a lot of this stuff going on, man. These white supremacists are basically their whole ideal is to take out these easy targets. And a woman is an easy target, by the way. It doesn't matter how tough and independent she thinks she is. Okay. Lauren Smith Fields. Remember her. Her family is asking for justice. Now, before we talk about her family and her case, now, mind you, that the Maynard female, Asia Maynard, they should have, hopefully they took pictures. Hopefully they took pictures of how she looked in the morgue, okay, the medical examiner office. Hopefully, they do an independent autopsy. It will show what really happened to her if they get their own independent autopsy reports. Do not, you know, basically, um, rely upon the state to do it and the government to do it because they're going to lie. They're going to deceive. And we're just having a lot of off code women, unfortunately. We have a lot of off code black women who thinks that the grass is greener on the other side. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. And they're thinking that if I date a white man, that's gonna be we're getting away from this black dude because he's no good, he's no good. And then you go, and of course, white men take the most beautiful of our women. See, they basically they're not gonna get no chubby black chick. They're getting these beautiful black females that is the most attractive in our communities, whether they come from the United States or in the United States or in South Africa or other African nations or whatever. You see? So let's just about what else is going on with this man here. Another case. Lauren Smith Fields. The cause of death still unknown a month after Bumble date with a white man. You understand? Bumble date with a white man. I think that's like a dating app. And then you got the family out there talking, we want justice and blah, blah, blah. Family, you can protest these people all you want. They've given these white supremacists they've given them a, they can do whatever they want to cover their tracks. They got the police behind it. They got all kinds of ways until which they could basically cover up these crimes now. They just learned, and according to ABC News, I'll give them credit. I'll give some people in the white media credit, but I understand that when we were reading this story on Lauren Smith, Fields, that they had basically arrested, I mean, not arrested, but suspended the detectives on the case. And I guess that they didn't follow some protocol they were saying. Of course they're not. You know what I'm saying? Of course they're not. And they won't, or of course they won't, and they won't gonna, and they're not gonna do it. So you try to get attractive women to say, hey, okay, I understand y'all don't like dating black men, but y'all want certain types of black men. If they're not like a football player, they don't have a status. If they're not, if they're just not really equipped, that you just don't like them, you want to date a white man. Okay, I get it. Okay, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But the black woman dating a white man is not going to be the same as the black man dating a white woman. You see what I'm saying? Very different, because the white man is going to lose his composure, as he often do, and he is going to be more abusive than you in a relationship. That's the reason why the white woman she basically is she knows that the white man will kill her in a relationship. You understand? I want to see. Here's the thing about black people, let's specifically say y'all who's in interracial relationships. Um, the ideal of dating outside your race it comes with a lot of problems. Okay, it's going to be a lot of problems, and the reason why dating outside your race is a lot of problems, not only because of the cultural differences, but we already know our history with white folks. We've had 1,000 years of direct history with these people. Okay, And having that direct history, there has been nothing but us being screwed, they've been on top. Us being screwed, they've been on top. You see what I'm saying? So in a relationship with them, man. I, you know, that's even worse. Okay. And the reason why it's worse, and I think this sister, they said she was from some African country. She came over here and met this white zaddy on Bumpy. Bumpy is a what they're calling a dating app. And in this dating app, Bumpy had a lot of things that it was doing. And I mean, it basically has like it's an app where, you meet somebody and you go out on a date and hey, you may meet somebody. I don't know, but hell, evidently these dating apps are becoming very frightening now because you don't know who you're meeting on them. A lot of black people, black immigrants that come to the United States, they think that, oh, I met a white man. Oh, yeah, good, man. And of course, a lot of these white men who are married, they're going to basically, if you basically think that they're not going to if you like try to manipulate them and say, hey, I'm going to tell your wife that you're having an affair with me and all that type of stuff, as soon as your ass turn around, they're going to hit you with something in the head because they don't want to go through that heavy divorce. Okay. They don't want to deal with a lot of that situation. You're ruining their careers and stuff. So, you know, that's what you have to understand. And so I guess this man was probably um, married and just probably lied to this girl. And so she basically, her sister also said, they said it's not right. I mean, something she felt that was something wrong. And a lot of her friends, a lot of people that was basically um, doing this are in a relationship, are even talking about the relationship of being in a relationship with these white dudes. They really get these advice from their mom, from their home girls. These women that you get advice from, they don't have your um, they really don't basically care. They're just trying to give you advice and not thinking about how white supremacy works. And that's dangerous. See, the black man, not all, I mean, most of us, we understand white supremacy, and that's not even only for black women. There have been black men who have died mysteriously from even dating white women. We told y'all and warned y'all about eating a white woman's food. You understand? And I forget Charles Moose. I think he was the chief of police that basically, he was, the infamous the Muhammad, the two guys that went on the killing spree in Washington D.C. His wife came out and said that this happened a little few years ago, that his body had shut down. All of a sudden, he was yelling for her. He was like, "What the hell happened?" Like, damn, and he's gone. We keep telling black folks, if you don't understand white supremacy, see, everything that is happening to us now is happening to us in an information age. You have to understand science. You have to understand medical science as well. You have to understand germ warfare. And so people are like, man, how do you know all this stuff? Well, I've been studying germ warfare for a long time. See, when Dr. Fauci and all these people back in 1980s, when they were doing the HIV AIDS virus, and my favorite rapper Easy died, man, that started to let me know that these folks, man, was involved in engaging in uh, warfare against us at a very, very young age. You know what I'm saying? Um, even me learning at the age of 16. You see what I'm saying? A lot of us understand now what germ warfare. Unfortunately, our women don't get that same information because not all, but most of them they go into the situation where they're studying at a college and university, right? So they really don't take out time to, unless it's a benefit to them, to learn a lot about white supremacy, racism, white supremacy. I think it was Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. Shout out to her. She was probably, with the exception of Sister Sarara Ali. I hope I said her name right. I always mess up her name. They basically knew about a lot of these relationships that they knew that they had to have with the black man because they understood that the black man is powerless in the United States. And so they wanted to show love. And the only way they had to show love was to talk about racism and white supremacy. Okay. And so we are on this whole case now. And it's not just Lauren Smith Fields, who is 23 from Connecticut. The other female, I forget her name, but she was 23 years old and she was roommating with a 19-year-old white boy, right? And they came into the house. And I think this also happened somewhere in, um, man, I forget the state that it happened from. But anyway, they came in. They came into the house, or the white dude. How he told it is that he came into the house and she was hanging from the roof, and they said that she killed herself, and she was roommate with this white dude. You see, so when we look at all of this stuff, this is a sign that white supremacy likes to be very, very, very sneaky and their assaults and their death on easy targets in the black community. This is a sign to say, okay, if you see they be joining these organizations and they be like, you got a black girlfriend or you met a black woman online. Well, in order to basically tell us and show us that you are part of the team, you got to kill that nigger tonight. You see what I'm saying? Man, I'm gonna have a video. I need y'all to watch. It's gonna be 5 things that you don't do with white folks. You know what I mean? 5 things. We already know that you don't eat their food. That's number one. But there got to be 5 things that we're gonna mention in this video that I got coming up that you don't do with white people. Okay? Because you're gonna be found dead somewhere, or you're going on a date with these people. It's a problem. The white supremacists will basically use their privilege. They're going to use all kinds of different avenues that they have because the system is on their side. Okay, so when a person who got a gun pointed to them by this white supremacist, I'm gonna call the police. That don't mean anything. They're working with the police. You understand? Doesn't matter if a black officer respond either, because sometimes these black officers act the same way because they understand that they can get charged quicker by the state than a white officer does. So these white supremacists will have a lot of things to basically kill you with. They will kill you by, even most importantly, by putting poison in your food. They can put a lot of things in your drink. Okay, they know how to basically set it up to where you basically, they lie and talking about you committed suicide. So we got to be able to understand how the white supremacists operate. Nia Wilson, I think, from Oakland, California. Look up her case. Like, share, and subscribe. I think Nia Wilson, I think that's the 23-year-old girl from Oakland, California. I think that's the one who was found hung. I'm not sure, but go back and look at her case. Of course, as we know Breonna Taylor's case. White man shot her. Renisha Bride, she was shot in Dearborn Heights, Michigan. And we, like I said, we have a lot of these black women who sometimes they do put themselves in this position, okay? But I'm not going to fault them from dying from this situation. But have you noticed that certain types of black women who date these zaddies, they always talk about, oh, you black men, you're not shit, you black man, blah, 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 blah. And they get with these white dudes, and it's like, no, wait, what, she's dead? Hell, she's 23 years old. How the hell? She ain't died on no natural causes. We got two. Is Asia? No, Asia. I don't think is 23. But they're trying to figure out what happened to these girls. Marquita Ferguson, 27. Look up her case. Dating another white supremacist is suspected. It just does not basically end there. See, these people got a whole system where they are able to um, use the system to kill you, to destroy you, to lie, to manipulate, to then claim that, hey, you know, oh, she died of natural causes and we don't know what happened. We definitely don't know what happened, you see. Yeah. But anyway, they had basically put the two police officers on discipline. They said Bridgeport, Connecticut detectives involved in a case of Lauren Smith Fields, who was found dead in her apartment after a date last month, have been placed on administrative leave and are being investigated by the department Internal Affairs Office, according to the mayor. Disciplinary actions may also be taken against Bridgeport police detectives Kevin Coronin and Angel Lidas. Okay? I told you about these Hispanics that's involved in this white supremacy. Due to the lack of sensitivity to the public and failures to follow police policy in the handling of the two cases, according to the statement from Joseph P. Gammon, the city's mayor. It is unacceptable failure its policies were not followed, Gammon said. To the families, friends, and all who cared about the human decency that should be shown in these situations in the case by members of the Bridgeport Police Department, I'm very sorry. End quote. The detectives are also been investigated for their handling of the case of Brenda Lee Rawls, another black woman that we just showed you a picture of, who was found dead and alone in her home on December 12th. Smith Fields was found dead in her apartment the same day, shortly after meeting a man on the dating app. See, notice they don't say some white man on a dating app. The family of Smith Fields, 23, and Rawls, is 53, claimed that the police failed to notify them of the death of the say they learned of the death from others. Both women are black. The supervisory officers was in charge of the overseeing of these investigations, retired from the department on Friday, the mayor said, adding that the cases are both under active investigation and have been reassigned. Both cases are both under active investigation. Oh, and I've already read that. The news comes just days after the Connecticut Chief Medical Examiner's Office announced that Smith Fields' cause of death was acute intoxication due to the combined effects of phenol and promethazine, I can't say that, hyprozine, and alcohol. And the medical examiner ruled the manner of death as an accident. Same thing, i.e., Kanika Jenkins. You see that? This is what get a a person very, very screwed up. They are going to basically do all kinds of things. Their body's going to move. They're going to be very much out of it. You understand? That mixture with alcohol is the why you seeing the pictures of Kanika going down, bumping her head on the wall. Okay, so they knew what they were doing. Okay, we've been talking about those stories. Okay, But that's all I wanted to talk to you about on that. Like, share, subscribe. Well, let's also talk about this Empire Records. It is a recording record label that got about 4 or 5 locations. One is here in Atlanta, and they got also one in other, companies in Los Angeles, which is their headquarters. Now, there has been a lot of people who are looking at these record labels, and we talked about this before, that we have to start being very careful as to you know these labels when you're signing these contracts with them. So rapper Snooty Wow goes down there to Houston, right? And they're now trying to blame Young Gotti on all this stuff because Young Gotti wanted Young Dro, of course, to sign with his label too. But see, here's the thing about empires. Really, um, a situation where they're kind of suspicious way. And what I want to talk about is rap labels and how their beefs are really a situation. It really, the record label really capitalized on the death of black men uh, in this industry, this hip hop industry. But Family Demand, not only justice, of course, with Young Dolph situation, I talked about that, but I think Screw Tooth basically cut off my mic on that one. Memphis rapper Snooty Wow shot and killed in Houston. Now, this is like 6 rappers, of course, who was from the Empire record label, owned by Genzi Shemi, founded by in 2010. One of these, a lot of these rappers is D Smoke, Young Dolph, Mo, Kings Von, Slam 400, Draco the rapper, and Tinaj X Tinaj, I can't say his name. The one rapper that died first on their label, XXX Tanashi. I guess that's how you say his name. But the rap battles and the rap beefs and labels is something that these hip hop stars have to do in order to sell music and sell records. And I think we learned a good lesson from the Biggie and Tupac situation that caught us off guard, where we let the white supremacists finance rap beefs. Um, the rap labels, I think, finance these beefs. They say, hey, you go out there, here's $2 million. You go out there and do all this stuff and basically, get your name out there. You can blow up and blah, blah, blah. You can sell records. And I think what they do is they go and then they will find a rivalry. Okay. Somebody that never liked these rappers in high school. Somebody who claimed that they deserve respect here. Put some respect on my name. You have to basically have an entourage behind you that you can trust. When you are a hip hop star like these guys, Snooty Wow and Young Dolph, even though you got love in your community, you can't go back there without having some type of protection because they're going to always be somebody who the white supremacists can pay to kill you. And it can also be jealousy and envy. It's not always the white supremacists. I'm not going to say that all the time, or white people in general. But what I will say is that this kind of situation happened here in Houston, and this is suspect because the Empire record label, they're saying that this label and its owner, Mr. Shami, is worth give or take $50 million. Okay. If he's in order for him to build up and get more artists so that he can have a huge I won't say that, but I'll say a huge um, catalog, I should say, of rappers in his record label, and then they don't own the rights. I mean, they own the rights to it, own the publishing and all that stuff. That's easy then for them to go out and create this beef so that they can make money off of it. The profiteering of black men dying, not only in the streets, but in these rap beefs. This is something that we have to really closely look at and then try to blame young Gotti for it. So it can be just another black man who they can try to say, well, let's go out and kill him and let's put it to rest. And the Democrats are known to work with the police to start this stuff. And so we have to be very, very clear of what really is going on in the hip hop world. We can't let these people, um, you know, keep our artists, beefing like this. Because what's going to see? Here's the thing: Pop Smoke, which is one of the artists I like listening to. Some young dudes just went in his house and or while he was asleep and just killed him. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that these you are as a black person a musician. Listen to me, rappers. If you're listening to the Lawyer Henson show, I was so excited I had like at least one rapper that even listened to me. No, but listen, you're on that label, Empire, and any other label that these folks own, especially in Indian countries. See, because how they got away with Kanika's death is because her killers were from India. Okay. And since then, of dealing with the fact that these rap beefs, white America is allowing people to come over to other countries. They give them a bag. They can start all these companies, these conglomerates, and that's very dangerous to black people. You might say, well, that's an opportunity for this black man or this black woman to get a record deal or a movie deal. But the problem is that you're in the hip hop world, you're more worth, you're more way more when you dead. Michael Jackson and all these people, they're worth billions of dollars now that they're now dead. And the rap label and the CEOs of these music corp companies like Sony and all these other people, they know that you are only basically profitable when you're in the casket. That's the game you can't play in the music industry. Michael Jackson is so popular now. Even the white media stopped talking about him and they started doing documentaries after his death. But his publishing rights is really basically up for debate. Don't ever think that these people want you to stay alive to make more music. As soon as you climb to the charts, they are already making money from it, off of you. And when you die, of course, they're going to still make money for you if the wife or your fiance or whoever cannot understand your publishing deals or they can't get access to it. These record labels is going to be able to manipulate her. Okay. So we have to be very careful in this industry. Empire Records basically has a history of all of these people that were basically signed to this label and tell them to go out and finance this beef with their their rivalry. And before you know it, these young boys, they're not playing no more. They're coming to shoot you. They're coming to kill you. And because they want that money, they feel like they're being disrespected. You see what I'm saying? And so when these rappers get these deals, like I said, it's about making more money for these record labels. Black men, it is not worth it for you to sign with these record labels and to then die as a result of making paper money for these white folks and Indian people. these white supremacists who run these corporations, they're on code to then profit off your black death, your black body. You understand? And you have to understand that. We have to start teaching our youngsters who get these $5 million deals, or who get this rap label, these these deals from the record company. And it's like, wait a minute. Okay, they're promising you like Tanaji X. I mean, what's this? I can't pronounce his name because he used too many X's in his name. But he died. He was, he had a good deal that he signed. His deal was very good, and I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I know why they wanted him dead, because they couldn't pay him the money that they were trying to give him. I think it was like $18 million. I think it was. I'm not sure, but just go look at it. XXXTENTACION. That rapper. They basically made him a deal that they tried to get out of. Okay, and you know we have to look at what's going on. So even when the family is demanding justice for rappers who've been shot and killed, even the fiance as well, and his family, you have to understand that they already know who these people are. Okay, the police already know who killed these rappers. It's not really. See, they already knew who Young Dolph, the people who killed the guys who killed Young Dolph. The judge knew him because they were always in the courtroom. The police knew who killed Nipsey Hussle because they were always dealing with this dude who shot and killed him. So it's going to always be that these folks know who the government knows, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about these Pookies and Ray Rays who comes on the side of the white supremacists. That's the reason why we said every black person who is black is not black. You understand? The Pookies and Ray Rays are not on our side at all. Now, let me just show you what the white media did when trying to make Yo Gotti a target. The Sun is still trying to do, like I said, we saw this in the Biggie and the Tupac era, where they was trying to get this East Coast, West Coast beef going on. The white media, MTV, all these people were playing a very this role into hyping up this beef, where they could say, oh, this is East Coast, oh, this is West Coast, and these two were having this big head. You see, rappers have to be smart today. We don't need a lot of killings going on in our communities because of who the hottest rapper is. You basically can show us that by really about the sales of your music. But let me just show you what's this? The Sun. Listen to what they did. The Sun did this as soon as the announcement broke out. Okay. How did Yo Gotti know Snooty Wow? Okay. Interesting that the white media asked that question. Interesting, because this is the same question that they asked when Young Dolph got shot and killed. And we know that Young Gotti has a way different record label from, this Gansi Shami character from India. See? So we have to be very, very careful and to falling for the trap. See, the white supremacists have no other play. They want to keep these beef going on with our rappers and our celebrities. They want to put trash on TV like the Real Housewives and all this old stuff, and not wanting to give black people their reparations. This is a problem. This is what white supremacy get their personalities as a society from black people getting shot and killed in these streets. And that personality has to then be destroyed, you see. Finally, I want to talk about the racism in Ukraine. white people in Ukraine is racist. And this is our top story. So, is Putin right about racism in Ukraine? I think one of the things we have to look at is that I think President Putin of Russia have a point. And the white media is out there talking about, oh, black people, you got to get on this. The Ukrainians, they basically need us. Man, they need us so badly. And you got to support Ukraine. But Ukraine is being racist towards black folks. Did you know that they didn't want the African people to come on a board to train? They were stopping black people at the borders and stuff like that. These Nigerians and these African people, they're waking up and see that, hey, wait a minute. Oh, okay. So you're doing this just because I'm black. Well, duh. That's what we in Black America has always been telling you. These white supremacists only put themselves first, you see, and nobody else. Um, so we have to look at that as being like, wait a minute, we got to deal with this issue of white supremacy and racism, and we know that the white supremacists do not want us to have anything in this country. You understand? They don't want us to have no wealth. They don't want us to have no economic system. They want to keep us in a segmented labor market. Okay. And that's the only way it can work. But this racism in Ukraine, I want to talk about this real quick because this is very, very important. Um, Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe, family. This comes from an article from ITV News. I'll give them the credit on this. Okay. But they were saying that they chose pets over people. They chose pets over people. Nigerian students open up on Ukraine border racism. Now, as you know, Putin said that the reason why he has invaded Ukraine is because of he's trying to get the neo-Nazis out of there. Is he right? Do Ukraine really have neo-Nazis? I think they do. I think they have the same kind of white supremacists that America has. Goes on to say here that Nigerian students helping others escape Ukraine have told ITV News on of the racism, the dehumanizing experience at the border as they try to flee for their lives. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Their comments come as a Ukrainian ambassador to the UK admitted to the parliament last week that they have prioritized Ukrainian citizens over foreign students out of concern for what locals would think. Two Nigerian students spoke to ITV News after fleeing to Hungary and Poland about the racism they experienced at the borders, being denied access to flee Ukraine, and how they're now trying to help other foreign students escape. You see what I'm saying? So we had some black female Nigerian chick who was able to go back to Nigeria safe and covering. And she was like, "Oh no, I gotta go back. I'm worried about I'm worried about the people who still there and still left there, and I have to, why do black people have to feel like they have to save the universe? We're sick and tired of people piggyback. It is enough that we have to basically deal with all these folks who are piggybacking on us, who are coming to our country, and black people have to be put on the back burner. We have to be last to get any kind of tangible benefits, reparations, all this stuff. And racism also in Africa, you go over there to the country and you got the black people at the bottom, white folks on top, everywhere you go here. It goes on, the article goes on to say that two Nigerian students spoke to ITV News. I'm sorry, many who have just arrived said they have nothing to eat and can't afford anything more right now. One estimate puts the numbers of just Nigerian students study across Ukraine when Russia invaded around 4,000. But with lower tuition fees than many other countries, Ukraine attracts students from many other countries. Now, keep in mind, this is the same Ukraine that was holding up signs talking about free Derek Chauvin and the George Floyd staff when he killed George Floyd. Jessica Aropo, Sun Tat Chiwu, damn, I hope I said that right, is a 6-year Nigerian medical student and a student body president from I don't know how to say that. The 23-year-old in her final year as the medical student was hoping to graduate in a few months before the invasion began. She finally made it to Hungary, where she is now, but only after a great deal of struggle and trauma at the Polish border. I was about to enter literally at the front of the bus, and they were literally pushing us away. Like, why blacks? So why blacks? So the organizers were like, we should get back. I even tried calling out him a couple of times. He ignored any black person or the Moroccans, Arabs, and Syrians, she said. I didn't want to assume what I was thinking. I literally wanted to direct answers from them. I wanted direct answers from them. So I went towards the woman and I asked, are you telling me that the buses is coming right now are provided for just Ukrainians? She said yes. And I said, what about us blacks? She said she literally she didn't like it. She added, scrubbing her shoulders in the way the woman did to her. And I told her that that's very bad to her face. And I walked away around the point when everybody had it, everybody lost hope. Okay. So they're losing the hope as at the border. They're being pushed back from getting on trains. They've been basically saying to black folks, African people that's coming over and studying, you Negroes, you better start picking up a gun and fight us and help us fight the Russians. If you want to stay here, we have this sovereign nation. No, 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 no. You have a white supremacist nation. It is filled with of white supremacists, and you got to get them folks out of there. The Russian invasion, it says here in this article, Russian invasion of Ukraine is an undisguised terror, as described by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. In a matter of days, hundreds of people have been killed, thousands are displaced, and hundreds of thousands are aiming to flee the border countries that accept refugees. Newborn babies are being placed in underground bunkers, and men over the age of 18 are barred from leaving and asked instead to pick up arms to fight. There are images of courageous women staying in Ukraine to do the same. The United States and many other countries has instituted severe economic sanctions trying to deter Russia's offensive military tactics, and yet Vladimir Putin seems set on trying to reclaim Ukrainian land through strong military force. At his first State of the Union address, President Biden announced sanctions by closing off American airspaces to all Russian flights. The economic impact on the Russian economy will be far-reaching, and human impacts will be generational. So far, Russia does not seem deterred by the sanctions. Video brutality are painful to watch. Now, let me just stop right there. The reason why he's not really worried about it is because he got a relationship with China. Okay? Vladimir Putin has a relationship with China. I told you in part one that the United States have been trying to punk other nations for so long, and they're basically saying that's not going to work. You see? And so I told you about NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, where they are basically trying to they won't get in a physical contact with Russia. And the reason why is because Russia is the fourth largest military in the world. Okay? You are not going to go into a military war with Russia and think then that you're not going to be able to use military resources. You have to. There's no way around it. Okay. You have to use your overstretched military. That's the reason why it's empowering Taiwan. Taiwan, basic, not, I'm sorry, not Taiwan, China, because Taiwan is basically saying, oh yeah, they're trying to tell United States, the Chinese, they're firing missiles all over the place. They're firing missiles here. They're firing missiles there. Let me tell you something. The Taiwanese is very, very scared right now. And the reason why they're scared is because they know that at some point China will invade Taiwan. And they're basically telling you, listen, it's about to get real. And they're telling that black man in Nigeria, I mean, not Nigeria, but in Africa, listen, you've been going on the side of these white folks in the West for a very long time. Okay. And that's the reason why Putin, of course, he has talked to the Tanzanian president. He was also with the Nigerian president, I think it was, or the president from Mali or Ghana. And he's trying to say, listen here, the Tanzanians, Putin basically were talking to their president, right? And they let some of the students come to Russia, out of all places, and gave them food and gave them some shelter now. So now it seems as if Putin is trying to give humanitarian aid, you see. And so white people are talking about here in the West and U.S. and Great Britain and Germany, they're talking about, oh, these are, war crimes and blah, 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 blah. Well, nobody is putting Bush on trial for the war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq. And nobody put FDR on trial. I think it was FDR when he bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Where's the white man is always saying, "Oh, I'm escaped from justice. I don't have to go to the world court and say anything." You see, I run the world. You see, that's the reason why we tell black folks all the time, why are you leaving this country? White supremacy is global. You understand? But also it's coming down to a decline, by the way. It's coming to a decline. It's coming to an end, though. But yes, I just wanted to go live to talk about the racism in Ukraine. Black folks in Ukraine, I mean, black folks in Ukraine, black folks from Nigeria, these folks are getting that wake up call. I just did a story on Jesse Smollett, the last video where I showed you at first he was talking about the LGBT community and we blah, 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 the LGBT rights and all this. And we're like, man, he got a different tune now. Where the LGBT, the white feminists, and all these black LGBT people and that white LGBT community, none of them are coming to this aid. And then look at how he stormed out of the courtroom. I am not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. If something happened to me, if I die in prison, then know that they killed me in prison. You see what I'm saying? And that was very important for him to say, even though that he was not talking about black power beforehand. You see, we having a lot of people having to wake up now to racism and white supremacy. We've been telling y'all that this is what it's about. And then you always get these old Negroes who calling us in the civil rights generation who wants to call our phone line. What do you mean about white supremacy? Well, what's the definition of that? Negro, you're sinning everywhere. You see what I'm saying? And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to come on and we want to talk about the racism in Ukraine. Putin is getting the neo-Nazis out of there. And if he's going to get the neo-Nazis out of there, we're going to basically have a better world after these people who is living this neo-Nazi situation is gone. This will be a better world for it. And we also need to get the neo-Nazis out of the United States as well, you see. That is going to be good for us because global white supremacy has its back on a situation where they're always trying to keep black men and women in a segmented labor market. You see what I'm saying? It goes on to say that Ukraine stated that they will first allow women and children on the trains and transport out of the country to flee the Russian invasion. However, it seems that that meant Ukrainian and European women and children. Videos show black people being pushed off trains. Kind of reminds you of the old civil rights movement. Pushed off trains and black drivers being reprimanded and stalled by the Ukrainians as they try to flee. There are even reports of animals being allowed to train before Africans. Black students and athletes are now exempt from these racial barriers. Professional Ukrainian basketball player Maurice Creek, who originally from Maryland and played college basketball for Indiana University and George Washington University, was stuck in a bomb shelter in Mykolaiv, Ukraine. He is headed for a Romania to try and get a flight to the United States. Ukrainian medical student Corinne Sky, who is from Zimbabwe and lives in Great Britain, stated that trying to leave Ukraine is like a squid game, with Ukrainians and Europeans at the top of the hierarchy, people from India and the Middle East in the middle, and Africans at the bottom. Through Sky's perspective, it's disturbing. There is a relative history that people may not know. Africans attending schools in what is now Ukraine date back in the 1920s in the Soviet Union, now Russia, started formally recruiting Africans to attend college and professional schools in 1957. Not a coincidence, 1957 was the year that Ghana gained its independence from Great Britain. The Soviet Union wanted to try to build more positive relationship with African countries and showcase to the world that growing diplomacy. When Ukraine gained its independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, scholarships to African students substantially decreased. However, African students still found schools in the area appealing. Today, over 16,000 African people are studying in Ukraine, accounting for more than 20% of Ukraine's international students. You have the white media out there talking about the invasion of Ukraine unites a divided America. You see, this is the reason why you have to tune it in to the black media. There's a difference between the black media and the old dead black media. You understand? The old dead black media is talking like the white media. They are your roly-polies, your old Jet magazines, these old types of people, Essence magazines, and they're the old dead black media that used to be around when Tom Joyner, the hardest working man in radio, we got rid of him. Basically, what we have to understand is that we are now seeing the true colors of white supremacists breaking their tools. They're always going to get their tools broken. You're always going to get their tools broken. You see what I'm saying? Racism in Ukraine is now, you have these Negroes. I want to talk about this. It's very important I talk about this. Black people in Alabama. Oh my God. Black people in Alabama, I love you to death. You even had some people from Georgia went down to Alabama. On the anniversary celebrating the 1965 Bloody Sunday, you had a group of black folks sitting there listening to Kamala Harris trying to equate the Ukrainian invasion with the civil rights movement. I said, these black folks, black people in Alabama, catch up. Please, please, people. I'm telling you, black folks in Alabama, come on, catch up. I was trying to talk to a female back in 2010 in Alabama. And I was like, I got a number and all that. But then she said, I don't got no email address. I was like, black people in Alabama, come on, man. Don't be trying to go out there and do no more photo ops with people, these with the dominant society. We basically are done with that, black folks in Alabama. You have to understand that this is a system of white supremacy. We have to be on their tails and on their neck. You see what I'm saying? You got the white media out there now buying news reporters and say, hey, won't y'all basically get these black folks to talk about the struggle in Ukraine? Yeah. Not only do we want these black folks to fight for us, but why are you black folks are not worried about this situation? What does the war in Ukraine mean for Africa? That's what one newspaper was writing there. They're trying to get all these black folks to come over here and say, yeah, this is wrong. What Putin is doing is wrong. Well, what Bush did in Afghanistan was wrong, but you didn't denounce him. Well, you didn't basically set him up and say that he should be facing the world court for international court for war crimes, you see. But you put Charles Taylor on trial. You see, how can Bush is able to get the world court that America is not a part of the international court, to get Charles Taylor to be found guilty in that court, but the United States is not a part of the international court here. You see, that's a double standard here, and we got to be able to understand what these people are doing. You see, the Russian invasion is now getting these Ukrainians who wants our help now. Everybody said, come on, black folks, come over here and take a bullet for us good white people here in Ukraine. No. You see, these days of shuckling and driving and bootlicking, just like our civil rights generation and their oldest and eldest children. No, man. No. Those days are gone. And especially this young generation from 20 years from now, white folks are going to be so scared that these young black kids are coming up. These young black kids, they don't care, man. Boy, they don't care. You see, they're getting so scared. They're telling black men, hey, okay, we know that we discriminated against you for 7 years, and you've been trying to find a job. But hey, you want to be a police officer? They're so scared now because remember, look, they basically got women now in Los Angeles who's been police officers because nobody really want to be a cop no more. And the recruitment is down. And they're saying that if this course stay the same, by 2044, 45, it would be mainly only Latinos and women who are the majority of the police force throughout the country. That's a very dangerous situation, you see. And now women, of course, they basically know that this draft as soon as going to come back if we got a war with Ukraine. I mean, not a war with Ukraine, but a war with Russia. If we go to war with Russia, the Chinese, okay, because they're trying to take back Taiwan. And when Xi Jinping, the president of China, when he spoke with Russia, he said that he said the Russian president told him to wait until after the Olympics and then go ahead and invade Ukraine, and then we're going to monitor that, and then we know that the West is going to stay busy, and then what's going to happen is we're going to take back Taiwan. Man, it's getting dangerous, man. It's in the world, man. In the world, it's getting dangerous, man. The whole situation is going to be crazy. And white folks who think they got this arm and telling us what to do now, oh, they're scared now. And now, you see, we've been talking about, you know how y'all been looking at black men and you said that we're powerless. But you have to understand, the white man's power is based upon a relationship he has with the black man. And so now that's the reason why Putin is now talking to the Tanzanian president now. He's talking to the Nigerian president. He's talking to Mali. He's a Mali president. He's talking to all these African countries and say, listen, you got to come on our side this time. We got China, we got Russia, and that's scaring, that's frightening the white people. And they're saying, hey, black folks, are you going to get on board with us? There's white folks killing white people. Come on, you got to help us out. And we're not doing it now. We're not even doing what our parents, the old civil rights generation, is doing, buck dancing out here. You know what I'm saying? And that's a problem for them now. If you have not subscribed to the Lawyer Henderson podcast show, you should do so. You're in the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and subscribe, and leave your comments.